Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Shameless in Chicago. This is your host, Nin.
And I'm Luke, and this year is a very, very special year.
Why?
So I don't know if you're aware, but this year marks 10 years that you and I have known each other.
No way.
2014, baby. Algebra 2 sat right behind ya.
10 years together. And when you guys are listening to this podcast, it is Assyrian New Year. So
Happy New Year!
To all of my lovely Assyrian people out there. I know Persians are celebrating Nowruz, so Happy New Year to you all as well. Akitu brakhtaqa kulokhon. And yeah, so with love, blessings, and all of the things in the new year, let's talk about new friendships and old friendships and the benefits of having such great relationships.
Now, we've had all kinds of friends, I feel, growing up. We've kind of weeded out and seen who's supposed to be there and who's supposed to not be. But I think that you've been one of my most long-standing influential friends because you always strive me to make me my best rather than drag me down to some weird, strange level.
Oh, interesting. So you think that's important for a friend to make you strive to be your best?
Absolutely. When you and I discuss our actual dreams together, it's not with a sense of contempt. There's no thought in the back of our heads where we go, oh, you're so full of bullshit.
Yeah.
We actually want each other to succeed and achieve our dreams and actually bring them to fruition. And I think that's one of the most important things in our friendship.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think we both have this shared idea that we want to be successful content creators.
And we also want to be independent from any other working atmosphere. We would love to just saunter off into the city at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Up until the point where you told me you were gay, I had only had experience with one previous gay male who made me feel kind of uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, oh, because I'm gay, I can touch you inappropriately. And I was like, absolutely not. Just because you do not like my gender does not mean that you can touch me in areas that's only reserved for my partner.
That's a private square for a reason.
For a reason. So when you told me you were gay, you were very respectful and you were very protective and very kind. And not once did I feel almost uncomfortable by you and your personality, you know?
Good. I did something right. Soon you'll never know it, but I'm marrying you for your money.
We actually made a pact. And
we did, and we both broke it because we're not single by 26.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that.
Whew.
But the funniest story is I had to hand Luke a piece of paper, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but what is your name? Because
Hold on. Back this up. I want you guys to let me know, because this is not the first time I've been through this. How many of you have had a new friend that you've known for months, but you only refer to them as their nickname, and then only refer to them as their nickname because you've forgotten what their actual name was? Put a finger down. Me.
Yeah, his name was Ginger.
Ginger. And back then it was a big derogatory thing. People always made fun of me for my hair, and I see people on TikTok being like, I walk into the light and my hair is ginger, and I say, go fuck yourself.
No, dude, everyone's dyeing their hair ginger now. It's a thing. But yeah, I would just call you Ginger.
Yeah, I've had people call me Pookie before. That was a big one.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. But Ginger, I looked at her, I said, do you not know my name?
And I said, I'm so sorry, but what's your name? I really did not know his name.
And benefiting, you do benefit from the fact that we didn't grow up together. I did kind of transfer into our school sophomore year. So there's a lot of learning to do. I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
But I learned your name pretty quick.
There you go. I mean, Nin isn't that hard.
No, it's not. But we continued this little trend. I think even in our early adult years, our late teens or early 20s, we went out together. We studied together.
Yes,
there were points where you and I would study together for hours in a cafe. I did real estate. You did psychology. You benefited it from a lot more than I did because I yet to have a real estate license.
Yeah, I got my degree. So we did benefit there.
I'm glad one of us did.
And the thing is about me and Luke is that we always had a give and take relationship. It was never give, take. I remember Luke was the first one to get his driver's license and to get his own car. And so he would drive me around everywhere. He was super kind about it all the time. And in return, I gave him my love.
Yes, I got to spend time with her.
No,
as we
what
ran
did I
errands.
give you in return? I don't know. Probably like copying
You've
my
given
homework.
me like you gave me gas. You covered for me if I was late to a class or whatever,
Yeah.
something like that.
buy you food and stuff.
Yeah, it was all innocuous. You probably got me fat in high school.
Oh, I got him to break his vegetarianism.
I was a vegetarian, yes, and then I must have been the weakest vegetarian ever because I broke it for Panda Express.
Yeah, we walked into a Panda Express after school, and he was like, "I'll take the orange chicken." I was like, "Thought you were a vegetarian."
That was quick, and it all smelled so good. That was my first time with a Panda.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, we didn't have one, or at least I didn't have access to one. I had a bike into town if I wanted to go into town. Right?
Yeah.
We didn't have such luxuries.
Right.
Yeah, and then I remember you tried it really hard to get me to apply to college. Mm-hmm. There was one point where you're like, "Oh, look, there's this serial killer class," and we were both really interested in true crime back then. You're like, "Please come to my school. We can go take it together." And I had an application filled out, and for months the university would call me and asking me if I was still going to apply. I said, "No, I told you can throw that away."
Right. And like that was the thing about me when I was younger, is that it was so engraved in my head that you needed college to succeed. And at the time, Luke was working in a back-end warehouse.
I worked 2 jobs.
Yeah. At a back-end warehouse and a fish store.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, Luke, if I am going to succeed in life, I need you to succeed with me. So please apply to college so we can be successful together.
Now we learned a lesson. You do not need college to be successful.
Yes.
I got my shit. I got on my shit. I found a better job.
Right. And now we're on the same boat now. Like not one of us is more successful than the other.
Both living in basements.
I don't live in a basement. Thank you very much.
I'm
Thank
the
God.
proverbial basement.
Okay. we still live at our parents' house.
My cat loves it there. There's so many windows. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And like, I think that's what made our friendship strong too, is that like we really wanted the other person to succeed.
And we were also very relaxed with each other because I don't think there's any point where you didn't take the opportunity to laugh at me.
Oh.
I remember one time when we were in philosophy class and we had a final where we had to do an oral presentation, and I fucked that up hardcore. There was no other way I could have fucked that up. Every other word out of my mouth was, "I'm fine, I'm okay." I don't know. Okay, young ones, if you're going to speak about something in front of your class, trauma is not what you're going to choose.
No.
But so as I did this, I can just see one person shaking with uncontrollable laughter through her entire body.
Because he's literally standing up there and going like, "I'm okay."
It was from, I talked about a car accident. I was okay. But to this day, every time I say, "I'm okay," this is what happens. Nineveh breaks down.
Nin breaks down.
This is what happens. Nin breaks down.
Oh, I swear. Because I can just see our philosophy teacher right there, and Luke standing, and like, mind you, it's like a white screen and a picture of Luke's car accident. And you can see the trauma in his face because it had just happened a week ago.
I was so late to prepare for that final. God sent me something to use. I used it.
That's what you said when you presented it. I was like, "So did you do your project? What are you going to talk about?" He goes, "God sent me the car accident. I'll make use of
I
it."
literally took the projector because we had the photo projectors then.
Yeah.
I threw a screenshot of my phone.
Do you have a picture of the car accident?
Yeah, I do. We'll post it right here. It's pretty bad. But yeah, this is what I decided to do. And I had erupting laughter, I think, after class. She's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Laughing at each other's pain, honestly. What else? Oh, you know what else we did
What?
that I found interesting?
What?
We staged an entire fake fight where we picked at each other's like low blows, but neither of us got offended by it.
And neither of us backed down.
We kept going.
Yeah, no, we said some pretty cancelable things.
To each other. Yeah.
Of course,
it
out
was
of love, out of love.
out of love. Yeah, we didn't really actually get mad. And I think that's a very important thing, is that like you have to match your friend. Like honestly, like we don't take shit seriously.
No, and if you can't dish it, don't deal it. If you can't handle a little joking around, are you even really friends?
If you can't insult each other, are you really friends?
On the regular, insult each other. I think you still, I mean, just earlier you grabbed my belly. And
You
you
know-
said you're staring at my titties.
I was spacing out, and then Luke like came and stepped right in front of me, and I was like, well, now I'm just staring at your titties. And he got offended by it. And I was like, you brought it upon yourself. You stood in front of me. I was staring out the window.
Listen, just because they're pointing in two different directions doesn't mean you can't mind your own business, okay?
The titties got their own eyes too.
They got their own brain cells, all right?
So what do you think? List me like a couple of benefits within the friendship.
A couple of benefits I would say in our friendship is that, you know, you always make sure I'm fed. So I definitely have you kind of like caretaking over me. I'm not always the best with actually feeding myself. So there's some days you'll come and have a burrito bowl, homemade, ready for me with chickpea and sofritas and rice. Delicious. You really inspire me to actually chase my dreams rather than keep me down and say like, oh, this won't work. Oh, hey, this is probably a bad idea. You work my dreams with me. We're here in this studio doing this podcast. This was something that we had like a whole brainchild over.
We really
and now
did.
we're here. I think we've been doing this since October.
Yeah.
So no, September actually. So we've been doing this consistently, weekly for months. And it's all because that you and I keep motivating each other.
Yeah, honestly, the podcast was Luke's dream. This was your dream like a year or two ago.
This was my dream. Back when everyone was doing podcasts during COVID, I said, I'm going to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get back on it when everyone's listening to them again.
And when Luke was like, I want to do a podcast. And I was like, all right, cool. How can we do this together? How can I help you? And then I met Armand, and Armand was like, oh, guys, I know how to get like audio and do everything and all of that. And I was like, cool, we can use him. And at the end of the day, it just became like a teamwork effort because, guys, honestly, like half the stuff of recording a podcast, we didn't know.
No, we had no idea. There's so much equipment that we didn't know we needed. Back when you and I were originally trying to start, we were just trying to start on a MacBook and two little armed microphones.
That you ordered from Amazon for $20.
Ordered from Amazon for $20. And I could not figure out how to make another microphone go on my Mac. It was impossible. So I was actually dating this guy at the time who said, oh, yeah, I can totally help you out with that. And I'm just going to let you know, if a 5'4" Italian twink says that he can fix your MacBook, please don't open it and let him have it, because mine basically had Jarda.
Yeah, mine is still ruined to this day.
Thanks, buddy. That was a bad influence on my life right there. My poor technology. I had to go to the Apple store and get my entire computer wiped.
Oh, you did do that.
Yeah, I had to do that. I said, this sucks. It's slow. And then I went to the Mac store, the Apple store. They said, yeah, your computer's really old, so we'll do our best.
So I think Luke is a great friend because he, as a therapist, it is so difficult to find somebody who will just listen to you because everyone else wants to be heard first. And they're like, oh, you're a therapist? You're going to listen to me. And then as therapists, we're going to feel so bad for cutting you off. So like, we're going to let you talk. Luke is not like that. He's like, lay it on me. Tell me what you got to say. And I am listening to you. Not only does he listen to me, he listens to me without judgment. And when he listens to me, he leads me in the right direction, but is still on my side. And that's what I appreciate.
Hell yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's very important.
I mean, it's always important to listen to your friends. I personally have lost friends to suicide, and it's kind of important. You know, I mean, I know it's not really a risk between you and I, but
Thank God.
there are people who need to be listened to. There are people who just need to have an ear or a shoulder to cry on, and a little bit goes a long way, because I feel like if I had listened a little bit more in the past, that's kind of my guilt I carry. Maybe a friend would still be here today.
I don't think it's appropriate for you to carry that guilt.
Well, that's grief.
Yeah,
that's grief. And
that's true.
that's the long lasting influence of a friendship. That I had a friend since, I think she and I were friends up until the day she was gone. We did lose contact for a little bit. We got back together. And one of the last conversations I actually had with her was, she asked me, why did we stop talking? And it kind of cut me really to the core, because this person felt abandoned by me.
Yeah.
And a couple months later, an old mutual friend reaches out and says, hey, I just want to let you know she's gone.
Yeah.
It was over like a text message, you know, so always listen to your friends, reach out, listen. It's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, it really is. And non-judgmental, like, don't provide judgment, because that person is telling you their feelings and they want a safe space. And that's why therapists are so popular. That's why people are like, oh my God, I love my therapist. It's because it's a non-judgmental zone. And that's so important. If you want that open and honest communication between you and your friend, then you need to not judge them for what they choose to do with their life. Because one of the things they are choosing to do is allowing you in and telling you. So that's really important. The second thing that I would have to say is that you support me in like any and all of my endeavors. He supported me when I was going to college. People would be like, oh, why are you going to college? How are you going to afford that? Like, yeah, like all of that. Your degree is dumb. That's not even going to be popular in a few years. COVID happened, and here we are today. The stigma's dying down of therapy. So those people were clearly wrong.
Yeah, now we see you all on BetterHelp trying to find cheap therapy.
That's so true. And Luke always supported that endeavor. And then even like before we had Airwave Studio, there was another business venture that I wanted to do. And he really supported me in that one and was like, let me know if you need help. I will help you as much as I possibly can. And I never felt shy or embarrassed telling him about my business endeavors because he wanted to help in any way that he could. And that was always great.
I remember when a couple years ago, you and I started doing the haunted house vlogs.
Oh,
that
yeah.
never got released for good reason.
Yeah.
But I remember I would always feel a little weird because we would do those little sign-offs at the end. But I was really comfortable doing it with you because I was like, well, she's making herself look like an ass on camera. I can do it too. We would have people like walk like right next to us, right in front of us as we're recording like face first, trying not to act like we're around a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It was the most strangest thing, but like, you provided that space where I could feel comfortable stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Oh, yeah. That's really important too. Stepping outside of your comfort
Oh,
zone.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you do that for me because I'll vlog in front of you. You're in my vlogs.
Yeah. I say, hey, what's up, y'all? Follow me at, and I'm Luke at TikTok. On TikTok.
Yeah.
I will shamelessly plug myself on everything because we're shameless in Chicago.
Exactly. And then the third thing is that he accepts me wholly and fully. And I think that goes for both of us. We accept each other wholly and fully. Like, I'm this American Assyrian girl trying to juggle both things, trying to be a professional but a content creator at the same time. And it's like I'm juggling all of these hats. And he's like, all right, that's cool. I embrace all of it. I love all of it. Tell me about psychology. Tell me about you being a Syrian. Tell me about your dreams of being a content creator. Tell me about your dreams of being a businesswoman. Tell me about how it is being a therapist. He literally, all of it. He's like, I love it for you.
I agree. It is really important for a friend to accept you wholly, like in everything in your entire being. There are things that, you don't identify with every part of my life. A big part of my life is that I'm gay. I'm an advocate for the LGBT community. You are an Assyrian Christian girly. Like, our lives, while are not contradicting, are in really wildly different directions. And the fact that we can look at each other and appreciate each other's culture and still keep a friendship going, I think speaks volumes.
Yeah. And just like be an advocate for the other person and stand up for the other person. Right.
You will, you support my fight for gay rights and our fight for equity and equality.
Yeah.
I support, keeping up with your Assyrian roots, making sure that no one forgets that the genocide happened, because these are all very real things that people try to erase from your culture and our timeline.
Yeah.
It's very important. I see your culture, you see mine, and we accept each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like these healthy friendships in turn provide a healthy you and create a confident you. You have to have healthy friendships in order to have healthy romantic relationships.
Absolutely.
Because I think at like the peak of our friendship, I mean, we're not like peaking, but like we had a little break and then we returned to being friends again. And then during like the most healthy period, once we had gone over all the awkwardness,
Right.
we both met our partners that we are still with today.
We did.
Yeah.
I think it kind of also stands to say that when we were just finding each other in our awkward phase, we were actually with partners that were less than best for us.
That's actually very true. That's so true.
Isn't that a little strange?
Yeah.
So back in when we were 19, I put a curse on us. I said, you will not get into a relationship unless I am in a relationship, and vice versa.
Yep.
Little did we know it came true.
Yep.
But back then, maybe it's because that we didn't have that kind of outside perspective. We did talk to each other a lot in the beginning of those relationships. And maybe we said, oh, maybe if I had looked at it this way in the previous relationship, I wouldn't have wasted so much time on that person, because this all could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Like I said, never let a 5'4" Italian twink touch your MacBook.
Yeah, and never let a guy gaslight you into thinking that maybe one day you'll be together again. He's just going through something.
But luckily, once we got past that little break period, but we hit the awkward period, I thought it was a little funny how it happened. I think it's literally a TV show to me. It is literally a TV show to me. So there is only, I think, one point where we saw each other in those couple years before we started seeing each other again. And it was at a mutual friend's funeral. You know, we were not really talking back then. And next time I saw you, we had gotten the news pretty much that you were to be the maid of honor and I was to be the best man at the same wedding. So eventually her and I had to kind of come together, say, hey, what's up? This is how we're going to do things for the wedding. Can we check our speeches together?
Yeah.
And just from there, I think we just kind of took right back off.
Yeah, we just kind of clicked. I went to his place and we went over the speeches and I was like, oh, wait, this is a vibe.
I remember one time we drove up to the mutual friends' homes and we locked ourselves in a room because we had to get the speeches done in time. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Writing a best man speech is the most stressful thing I think you will ever have to do if that's something you're ever going to do.
1000%. But like and then we were in unhealthy relationships and then we got into healthy relationships.
We did. Not long after we both got out of the unhealthy relationships.
Yeah.
How do you think an unhealthy relationship impacted like you?
Ooh, it gave me an anxious attachment style.
Yeah?
I was an anxious avoidant attachment style through and through because I was in an unhealthy relationship with a guy who was like, hey, well, I had two guys. So one of the guy was like, hey, like, I like you. I really like you, but I'm going through something right now and I can't be with you. And I was like, okay, fine. Like, I understand. And then he would come back like a month or two later, be like, okay, I'm good. Like, I love you. I just want to be with you. I'm like, oh my God, great. And then I would always want reassurance. And then like, it just was never good. And then this other guy that I was with asked me to be his girlfriend and then was on Tinder the next day.
That's awful.
Yeah. So it was never healthy. And then I was like, all right, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. And I also didn't really have, like, my guy best friend at the time, George, he had a girlfriend already. So we weren't talking as much, hanging out as often, all of that. And then I had Luke come back into my life.
Can't get rid of me. I'm just like herpes.
Oh, gosh. And as a guy best friend and a guy perspective, which I think is very important, is that I was able to talk to him about relationships. I was able to see how Luke as a man is treating me as a woman. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Why am I accepting some crusty, dusty ass boy not hold the door for me? Are you kidding me?
Even I hold the door for her.
And that's my thing. Like, Luke would hold the door for me, like offer to pay for me, like pay for me, like all the time. Like, he still pays for me. Like, he's such a gentleman.
She pays for me too. Hold on. Don't throw me like that because you were like, you look at me and you're like, okay, here we go. We're doing this. We literally got Chinese food. You pulled out 220s and you're like, let's go, bitch.
We found it. But like, that's the thing. It's like very give and take. And like, I was in unhealthy relationships where they would just take my energy and take my love and like my caringness. And then they would give absolutely nothing in return. Like, yeah, they would pay for stuff, but like at the end of the day, you're giving me like nothing.
Right. I feel when I was in my unhealthy relationship with this 5'4" Italian twink who messed up my MacBook, I'm not letting it go. It was actually in a point where I was kind of getting really low. My roommate had decided to move out with her boyfriend, and I'm so proud of her for that. But her and I had such a bond that I took it so hard. Yeah. I did not let her see me cry.
Oh.
But I cried so hard after she told me she got the apartment. I was like, I'm so happy for you, wiping tears from my face. But then I ended up with this guy, wasted so much time. And I think what became of it is I got like a little bit more promiscuous.
Oh.
Yeah, after that relationship, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play the field, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about the guys out here. I'm just going to, go have some fun. And then 6 months later, I landed and I'm in a committed relationship.
Right.
Well, those were the days.
I mean, you can romanticize the past, but they weren't really that great.
No. I'm not romanticizing it. I'm saying those were the days like a war veteran looks back on like a battlefield.
It really was, honestly. There's a lot of freaking dirty ass fish in this contaminated sea.
Yeah, once when I was driving with this guy, we were going to this outdoor range event, and we were going to like some rural part in Illinois, kind of like west, is that like Ohio? Mm-hmm. Went out of his way in the broad daylight. You know how possums are blind during the day? Went out of his way to run over a possum walking around in the street.
Ew.
He said should have been in the street. An animal doesn't know what a street is.
Red flag. Automatically.
So many red flags. I saw red that entire relationship.
You know what that reminds me?
What?
Of when I went on a trip with a guy I had only known for 3 weeks. I went to Colorado with my car salesman that I had only known for 3 weeks.
I remember prepping you for this trip.
And Luke was going on a trip with this 5'4" Italian guy, and we both hung out with our friend who's now married, and we're like hanging out, and we're mentally preparing both of each other. We're like, all right, you're gonna do this, and if we die together, because you know why? We're cursed together. You're single, I'm single. You know
now,
what?
let me put this into perspective for all of you, though. And this is scary for both of us. She's going to another state with a man she hardly knows. So we prepped her to like self-defend. I was like, you know, if you have heels, go for the eye. There's more pressure in a heel than an elephant's foot. But where I was going to a baby shower in Michigan, rural Michigan, on a pig farm full of National Guardsmen that I did not know.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in that movie Get Out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, get out! They're coming for me.
Yeah.
I'm a lesbian, Hunter.
And then this entire time, and we had each other as support, which was like the best part, because like it gives you more confidence.
It does. It does. If you know someone's looking out for you, like our little guardian angel over here, it just brings a little bit more relaxedness into your daily life.
Mm-hmm. And like I knew that when I was on this trip, like I had friends on standby the entire time that were not judging me for going on this trip.
No, I was proud of you, actually.
Yeah.
I honestly, I wish I could have done the same. I wish I had an adventure like that, because that sounds just like a random, life is short, let's go off and do something about it.
You know, it was really like, my mom was really pissed at me the day of, and she was yelling. And like, I feel like my dad is like my voice of reason. And if my dad says no, he's saying no. Like, I feel like he's got this special connection with God, and God like just kind of talks through him. And I believe in that to this day, and I will believe in it forever. But the day that I was getting on that plane to go to Colorado with this man that I had known for less than a month, my mom was yelling to my dad and was like, your daughter is going on a trip with a man she hardly knows. And he goes to me, God bless, and God willing, you have a great time.
Period.
And I was like, okay, well then that's my sign, I need to go. So, and then I had your support.
Of course. I just needed to make sure that you knew how to defend yourself with a man you knew less than a month.
And then, yeah. And then we move forward to our relationships today and our partners. Like, honestly, like, I'm watching my partner right now. He's playing the guitar.
I'm texting mine right now.
And our partners are our best friends. And we also recognize that your partner will never fill in 100%. And we as friends talk about, and you know, my dad has a saying where it's, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you the type of person you are. If you're having a conversation with your best friend and they are understanding you, like, oh my God, yeah, I totally get that. I feel the same way. You recognize that, like, wow, your friend is really just like you.
Just as fucked up as you.
And like, you'll have the same thoughts. And like, some of the thoughts we have, it's our first healthy relationship for the both of us. And we'll have like thoughts like, should I even be thinking that? Like, is it bad that my boyfriend just like gave me the ick?
We just have to work through those intrusive thoughts. Like these are just new intrusive thoughts.
And they're so different.
Yeah, intrusive thoughts are not going to pop up in your brain when you're already having a bad time. Because if you're already having a bad time, those intrusive thoughts have no need to exist. If you are actually in a great and happy, healthy relationship, you're probably going to have more intrusive thoughts. And the more you fight them, the stronger you are going to be against them.
Yeah. And intrusive thoughts are intrusive because they're sticky and they're nothing like you. And that's why they cause you such great anxiety. Because it's like, wait, I love my boyfriend. He shouldn't be giving me the ick. And then it just like sticks in your brain. And then you have somebody to talk about. And then Luke is like, oh my God, no, I totally get that because I had the same intrusive thought. And then you're just having this back and forth conversation. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's why you need the healthy friendship to have the healthy relationship.
And all these relationships all stem from really one thing. And it's how much you really love yourself. How's your relationship with yourself? Because these intrusive thoughts, if they get at you like, left and right, and they're constantly causing you, problems, pain, headaches, H words, I'm sorry. We say H words here. You're going to have a lesser quality of life because you're putting out chemicals out of your brain into your body that are going to just slowly degrade you. Depression eats you from the inside out, from every bit of you. You're going to lose weight. You're going to gain weight. You're going to lose your hair. Your relationship with yourself needs to be on par so that way you are going to be confident going into a relationship with someone else. I was confident going into my relationship because I was in a stage of, my promiscuity gave me this like self-love and confidence. But when I got into my relationship, I wasn't looking for things to compare myself against my partner because I was already confident in what I was going into and who I was with it. And I think that really gave us an opportunity to grow together because he was in the same mindset.
Yeah.
We were both looking for someone, but we were both very comfortable with our own selves.
Yeah. And that's really important. Now, you said you were like, after your relationship, a little bit of promiscuity. Did you have a therapist during this time? When did your therapist come into play?
I did have a therapist. So I actually, I had a therapist before I met our 5'4" Italian twink who ruined my MacBook.
Okay, cool.
So I kind of actually talked through my entire relationship with my therapist. I didn't stay with my therapist for very long. I loved him very much. It's just, sometimes your insurance doesn't match up and you don't want to make the work to find another therapist because you already cried to one and you don't want to cry to one again. But I explained it to him, and then we got to the end of the relationship. It was really just like he told me, hey, I can't do this anymore. And I dropped off a box of his stuff and I said, cool. And after that, I felt that bad relationship kind of set me on a course for something different.
Yeah.
I did talk to that by my therapist. I said, there's so many things I think I want to do. I almost was tied to this person for so long that I would have been so unhappy. And now I'm like, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
And of course, it was a whole big find yourself thing. It was a whole big, hey, it's COVID, so you can't really do much thing. But I worked through it. And what I did is I, played the field.
But playing the field is what led you to meet your boyfriend.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We met on Grindr. We met on the popular gay dating app Grindr. I did not know how old he was. I think I've said this a couple times. I thought he was 27, 28. I won't say his actual age because we're pulling a whole Fran Drescher situation where he's just going to be 31 again.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But I was not expecting a relationship to come out of that. And I feel if I had been in a earlier mindset where I was a bit less self-confident, I would have, never seen him past first date. Because that was my MO. After I got out of that bad relationship, I was promiscuous. I went on first dates. I ghosted without any remorse. I wouldn't even block you. I'd say, yeah, you can message me again in 3 to 6 months, dude. I don't really care. We can try it again. But then with that confidence, I went and I used it to lock down essentially my relationship. I was the one who initiated the entire conversations we had.
Yeah.
I was the one who said, hey, be my boyfriend. I did not have any sort of confidence to do that in any past relationship.
Oh, wow.
The 5'4" Italian twink who ruined my MacBook was on Grindr and Tinder for the entirety of our relationship. And I just let it slide because I didn't have that self-confidence or that self-love I needed to say, hey, that's a dick move, dude.
Yeah.
You're coming over to my house and I see a Grindr notification pop up on your phone because it's on the magnet mount. Bullshit.
Right.
And if I could go back then, I wouldn't change a thing because it made me who I am today.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And like, I have a similar situation with Luke is that like, I was in 2020, I had a breakdown where I was just anxiety filled with anxiety. And I do address this in one of our previous podcasts. And I got a therapist. I buckled down on therapy. I really did. I was going every single week. I even did a PHP, which is a partial hospitalization program. I did it over Zoom. I had to meet with therapists every single day, 4 days a week. And there is absolutely no shame in that because you meet people as young as 18 and as old as 65. Like you're meeting everyone and you're hearing their life stories and it's just a great time. So I was accepting this piece of me because I was like, wait, there's no way I'm here, right? And in that process, I was slowly learning that nobody is better than anybody. And for a long time in these relationships with these guys, I kept thinking they were better than me. Like they were giving me a chance.
Like they were the prize?
Yes. I literally had one of my friends tell me when this guy was like ghosting me, she's like, oh honey, he's not all that in a bag of chips. And I was like, that's a very good point. So when I got to that point in my life, I was like, hold up, nobody's better than anybody. We can all end up here. We can all end up in this partial hospitalization program. Like, wait, what? And then I had therapy and then I was really into my therapy as well. And I was going through the psychodynamic process of reliving my childhood and telling him everything and learning about my relationship styles and why they were the way they were and everything. And then by the time it was 2021, my grandfather had just passed away, and I loved my grandfather. He was a homie. And after that, I was like, God, please, I just want to be in a relationship so I can have a guy to cry to, you know, like that type of thing. And our friend had just passed away a month prior.
Oh.
So it was
a rough summer for you.
It was a rough summer. So it was COVID. It was our friend getting into the accident and then passing away. And then my grandfather passing away. And then all of a sudden I fell into a relationship, which was honestly amazing for the first month that it was. And then it ended after a month. And then we started to be on and off. And then he came back, I think like a few months later, or even like almost a year later. And I was still seeing my therapist at that point. And I went to my therapist, and he was the only person I felt like I could have a conversation with, because my friends at that point were kind of judging me. They're like, girl, don't go back to him. He's not good for you, like all of that. But I was like, I just need somebody to talk to this about, you know, because like you feel the way you feel.
Right. And you're going to make your own decision no matter what.
You really are.
You just need to be listened to so that way you can hear yourself say it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. So the guy came back into my life, asked me to be his girlfriend again. And then the next day proceeded to not text me at all. Coincidentally enough, I had a therapy session that day, and I told my therapist, and he's like, what is it you are looking for in a relationship? That's all he had to say to me. And I was like, definitely not texting me for an entire day. And he's like, well, then why don't you open up that conversation and just tell him straight up, if this is your idea of a relationship, well, then it's definitely not mine, and this is not going to work out. And I did exactly that, and we ended it there. And that's all you need for it to snowball into something. And then I became so confident that when I got it, after that, I was done. My dating was done. I met Armand not too long after, like a couple months later. And on my first date with Armand, I said, are you looking to get married or not? Because I'm not playing around. And he said, I am. So let's see where this goes.
I like it. You're playing hardball.
Bro, period. Don't waste my time.
Perfect. She knows what she wants.
But that's what I needed, that confidence. I had to fall to rock bottom.
To climb yourself back up.
And that's the best advice you ever gave me.
There you go. If you hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up.
Facts. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed listening and learning. And we're not like your stereotypical where we'll say 1 reason, 2 reasons, 3 reasons, 4 reasons why you're your best friend and why this and why that. We want to tell you guys real life stories to see how you can apply it on your own, because application is the most important.
Right. And we're all much more similar than we care to admit. So everyone can relate to something like this. Mm-hmm. And it's painful. Sometimes, you know, these relationships that do hurt you like this can really, really get you down. But with a good support system, with a good friend or a good relationship, you can really rise to overcome just about anything.
It really is. And it's not about the quantity of friends. It's about the quality. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. If you just have one good friend that is there for you at all times and literally means it. The day that me and Armand got into a relationship, we were actually fighting, and I wanted nothing to do with him. I actually wanted to block him. And Luke was like, absolutely not. This guy's a great guy. I'm driving over right now so we can have a conversation.
And it was the best conversation of our lives.
We did great. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Let us know if you guys have anything similar or anything you think is very important when finding a new best friend. And again, Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year. And be sure to follow our other channels such as Shameless in Chicago, Airwave Studios, Nin's Vlogs, and I'm Luke and the Almighty Airmain.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Nin's Vlogs on YouTube. You can find Luke at
And I'm Luke
on TikTok. And you can find at Almighty Airmain on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you stream music and this podcast, really.
And if you want to check out some TikToks where he's showing you how to get buff, we've got Airmain Lifts.
X. We are a multi-talented podcast group. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and wherever you're listening to this, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. And we look forward to seeing you guys all here again next week. Don't forget, new episodes every Wednesday, and the video comes out every Thursday on YouTube.
And join us next time as Nin recites the entire script of the Bee Movie, and it's an original Klingon.
Great. Bye.